This would be dedicated to the Battle of Stalingrad, which was a Russian battle where the German Sixth Army was actually uh, overwhelmed and had to be surrendered to the Russian army. So this was a huge defeat, a major turning point in the war in 1942 between Russia and Germany. So the Russians had held off the Germans, and they were only 30 miles outside of Moscow when they held them off. But Stalingrad was like a very brutal battle. And we have that displayed with a machine gunner, a German machine gunner, in a rubble scene. MG-34 German machine gun. This is a story of our local history in World War II in this area of Southwest Florida. The biggest base was Buckingham, which was a training field for aerial gunnery. So bomber crewmen were sent here. This was one of 5 or 6 in the United States devoted to aerial gunnery. So we had probably the largest and the most advanced training was found here at Buckingham, which was like 7 miles east of Fort Myers. They trained about 50,000 men between 1942 and 1945. So Buckingham had the most modern equipment that was used in as far as training goes. Much of present-day Lehigh Acres was part of that vast format, that training ground. The artifacts that we have from that training base are the 50 caliber machine gun crates. So we have 4 of those that came from the Buckingham base. And we also have some artifacts inside the case that have to do with training. We have a training manual from one of the gunnery students. This was a 5-week course that they took, and they started with classroom training and familiarizing themselves with their weapons, which was basically the 50 caliber and the 30 caliber machine guns. But before that, they did preliminary training with like 22s and shotguns just to get themselves acclimated to some of the targets. And then they graduated into the higher end machine guns later on. And as their final week of training, they would go out into the Gulf of Mexico on bombers, and they would have simulated mock battles with attacking aircraft. So they would be firing, simulating an attacking plane, and they would be firing live rounds at it, but they were using a Bakelite bullet that didn't have the penetrating ability of a lead case bullet. So they were using these formulated Bakelite bullets with their training. This area of our display has to do with the home front in World War II. So we have a kitchen scene with a mother, her wife, and her baby. And of course, the star in the window meant that this person had one soldier in the war, a blue star. If it was a gold star, that means that the soldier was deceased or killed in action. So this is a blue star mother. Typical scene with the gas stove, and then in the living room area we have the pump organ. Baby on her high chair. And another baby in a pedal car plane. These are a few items too that had to do with the home front. One is a storefront display, and it's from a radio station in Easton, Pennsylvania called WEST. And what they would do would be to change the pictures each day to give you a different view of the war. So this was kind of a precursor to the television, but it was a static display and a static scene. So it was a picture in a framed window. So this was something that was found in storefronts. The other thing we have is a few of the artifacts came from the USS Duchess, which was a ship transport, and we have the bottle that was used to launch the ship, and it's a champagne bottle, and it kept its bottle configuration because it was wrapped in the bunting, but it is cracked. It was used to smash over the hull of the ship to launch it. So it was launched in Sparrows Point, Maryland, and that was used, the christening bottle. And along with that, we got the ship's compass that was used when the ship was scrapped after the war. Someone got to the ship's compass. So we have the beginning of that ship and the end of the ship, which was the ship's compass.